Shri Gurudev. Good morning, students. I welcome you all back to the CET NEET online coaching class. So today we shall go to the second chapter, biological classification. So in the beginning of the scientific study of the living organisms, all the organisms were included under two kingdoms, that is plant kingdom and the animal kingdom. And later 3 kingdom, 4 kingdom and 5 kingdom classifications were introduced. And at the present day, we are following the 5 kingdom classification of the living organisms, which was introduced by Whittaker in 1985. So in this chapter, we have learnt in detail about the 5 kingdoms: the kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Mycota, kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. And we have learned in detail about the general characters, classification and importance of these 5 kingdoms. And then in this chapter we have also learned about the viruses, viroids and then the lichens. So today we shall study some of the questions pertaining to this chapter. So the first question is, the biologist who created the kingdom Protista for the unicellular plants and animals. So before the invention of the microscope, just based on the morphological characters, the 2 kingdoms were proposed, Plantae and Animalia. After the microscope was invented, the study of the organisms which are made up of single cells, that is unicellular organisms, was made. So after the study of the single-celled microscopic organisms, the 3rd kingdom called Protista was introduced, and this Protista kingdom was introduced by biologist taxonomist called Haeckel. So the answer for this question is Haeckel. So the other options have to be eliminated. The second option is Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur, he studied in detail about the bacteria, and he is the father of bacteriology at the present day. So John Ray, he has introduced his own system of classification for angiosperms, and Whittaker, he introduced, as we know, has introduced the 5 kingdom classification of the organisms. So the answer for this question is Haeckel. So the next question is, which one does not belong to the Monera? So here you have to identify the group of organisms which do not belong to the kingdom Monera. As you have studied, the kingdom Monera includes only the prokaryotic organisms. So all the prokaryotic organisms are included under Monera. So here the options are slime molds, mycoplasma, eubacteria and cyanobacteria. So prokaryotic organisms, they do not have a definite nucleus and membrane-bound organelles are absent in their protoplasm. So here you can observe the eubacteria, then cyanobacteria, the mycoplasma. All of these 3 options will be having prokaryotic cells. So the slime molds will come under the kingdom Protista. So the question is, which one does not belong to Monera? So the group of organisms which do not belong to Monera will be slime molds. The answer is A. Option A is the answer for this question. Have followed? So you have to understand the question and then select the correct option. The next question is, third question is, mitotic apparatus is absent in, the options are green algae, fungi, bacteria and higher plants. So mitotic apparatus means it is the apparatus which will be formed during the mitosis and meiosis type of cell divisions. So during mitosis and meiosis, during karyokinesis, there will be formation of the chromosomes, spindle fibers, asters and astel rays. The asters, astel rays and the spindle fibers together constitute what we call as the mitotic apparatus. So in the case of prokaryotes, mitosis and meiosis are absent. So only in the eukaryotic organisms, mitosis and meiosis will be present. Only during the these two types of divisions, mitotic apparatus will be formed. So here we have to observe which of these group of organisms are prokaryotic in nature. So the green algae, they come under kingdom Plantid. The fungi come under Mycota. So green algae, Mycota, and then the fourth option, higher plants are all eukaryotic in nature, whereas the bacteria will be prokaryotic in nature. So in bacteria, mitotic apparatus will be absent. So the answer for this question will be C. Option C is the answer for absence of mitotic apparatus. The followed here, the mitotic apparatus, you must remember, mitotic apparatus will be formed only during mitosis and meiosis, which will be seen in the case of eukaryotic organisms. The followed. So the next question is lysozyme in the saliva and tears kills. So lysozyme is an enzyme which will be present in the saliva of our mouth and also in the tears which are produced in our eyes. So this lysozyme has the capacity of killing only the bacteria. Follow? It will kill not all the microorganisms. The lysozyme will kill only the bacteria. So the options given are A, some fungi, bacteria, viruses, and none of these. So the lysosome will kill bacteria, not the fungi or the viruses. So at the present day, we are facing the problem of COVID-19 and corona is a virus. So this lysozyme, which will be present in the salivary juice and also in the tears, cannot kill the viruses. Because of that, only transmission of the COVID-19 is taking place at a faster rate and the population at the present day. You follow? So the next question is, the ruminant animals can digest cellulose. So ruminants are the animals which have the practice of chewing the cud, and the ruminants will include the cow, the sheep, etc. And in these ruminant animals, in the gut means in the digestive system, there will be present the archaebacteria which are called methanogens. Only methanogens have the capacity of producing an enzyme called the cellulase. This cellulase will digest the cellulose. I follow? In the gut or in the stomach of the ruminants, there will be present the archaebacteria which are called methanogens, and these methanogens produce an enzyme which is called cellulase. The cellulase will help in digestion of the cellulose. So because of that only, these herbivorous animals will eat the plants directly. But we, the human beings, cannot take the plants directly and digest the plants because of the absence of the cellulase. So only the archaebacteria in the entire living world, only the archaebacteria which are called methanogens have the capacity to produce the cellulase. So as these archaebacteria are present in the gut of the ruminants, they are able to digest the cellulose. So here you have to indicate why the humans are not able to digest cellulose. So the options given are the first one, methanogens are absent in human gut, methanogens are present in human gut, cellulose is a complex sugar, cellulose reduces the bulk of the food. So here the enzyme which helps in digestion of cellulose is cellulase, which will be produced by the methanogens. As the methanogens are absent in the human gut, we are not able to take the plants directly or able to digest the cellulose. So because cellulose will be present in the plants. So this option, first one, methanogens are absent in the human gut, will be the answer for this question. So you might have seen the biology with key biology CET question paper along with the key which I had given to you through the WhatsApp. So in that, the 10th question is the same question. The ruminant animals can digest cellulose in their gut, but humans cannot, because the humans do not have methanogens in their gut. Have followed? Okay. Next question is 6th question. The process which cannot take place in the absence of the viruses. So a process which is mediated through the viruses, you have to select. So the options are translocation, transduction, transformation, and then the fourth option is conjugation. So the transduction, transformation and the conjugation, they are the sexual recombination processes which are seen in the case of eubacteria. So till recently it was thought that in the bacteria sexual reproduction is absent. But the studies of the various bacteriologists has shown that in the case of virus, in the case of bacteria also, that is in eubacteria also, a primitive type of sexual recombination is present. And there are 3 types of sexual recombinations in the eubacteria. One is called conjugation. Where the 2 bacteria will come near each other and a conjugation tube will be formed through which the DNA of one bacterial cell enters into another one. This process is called conjugation. Then the next method of sexual recombination is transformation. In transformation, the DNA, the genetic material present in the dead bacterial cells will enter into a living cell. Have followed? The genetic material which is present in the dead bacterial cell will enter into another living bacterial cell, that is called transformation. And the other method of sexual recombination will be transduction. So in transduction, the bacteriophages, phages are the viruses which infect the bacteria. So through these viruses which infect the bacteria, the genetic material of one bacterium will be taken to another bacterium. So here exchange of the genetic material will occur in the bacteria through conjugation, transformation or through transduction. But translocation is the displacement of the segments of DNA, and here sexual recombination will not occur. So the process which cannot take place in the absence of viruses, that is the viruses will help in the process called transduction. So transduction will be mediated by the viruses. The answer for this question is transduction. The B option is the answer for this, that is the viruses will help in sexual recombination in bacteria, which is called transduction. So for transduction, viruses are needed. Have followed? The 7th question is select the correct statements with regard to mycoplasma. So mycoplasma are also included under the kingdom Monera, and they are also prokaryotic organisms. In these prokaryotic organisms, the shape of the cell will go on varying. So they are said to be pleiotropic in nature. And then they are also called neuropneumonia-like organisms. The mycoplasma are also called neuropneumonia-like organisms or PPLOs. And then the mycoplasma are smallest of all the known cells at the present day. So you have to select the correct statements which are given below this question. The first one is Mycoplasma galliseptum is the smallest known cell. Second one is Mycoplasma are pleiotropic. They have ATS type of ribosomes. They are called neuropneumonia-like organisms. So here you should remember about the features of the mycoplasma. Mycoplasma are the smallest known cells. They have capacity to change their shape. So they are said to be pleiotropic. And as they are prokaryotic, the ribosomes that are present in them will be of 60S type, not of 80S type. They are called neuropneumonia-like organisms or the PPLOs. So first, second and the third statements are correct with reference to mycoplasma. The incorrect statement will be presence of ATS ribosomes. So the question is, you have to select the correct statements. So the first, second and the fourth statements are the correct statements with reference to mycoplasma. The first option A. 1, 2 and 4 statements are correct is the answer for this question. The other statements 1 and 2 will also be applicable to mycoplasma, but they have the fourth option also in their features. First and the second, first one is, and also the fourth one will also be applicable to the mycoplasma, but they are also pleiotropic. This also will not be complete answer. The next one, third and the fourth. Here, the third option, third statement is the wrong statement with reference to mycoplasma. So, this option has to be eliminated. The second and the third options, though they are correct, the other feature, third feature is not included in these options. So, these three options will be eliminated. The correct answer for the seventh question will be A. First, second and the fourth statements are the correct statements with reference to mycoplasma. You follow? So, here you have to read or study the options that are given correctly and then choose the correct option of the A, B, C, D options that are given, out of which you have to select the correct and the perfect one. Then the next question is a question in which two columns will be given and you have to match the concepts of the first and the second column. So, you have to go through the question. So, the Chlorobium, Methanogens, Methanobacterium, Ruminantum, Sulfolobus. So, in the second column, microbial leaching, bacterioviridin, gobar gas production, digestion of cellulose are given. So, here the features that are given in the column 2 have to be matched with those of the organisms in the first column. So, Chlorobium is a photosynthetic bacterium. So, in the case of bacteria, the nutrition will occur by two methods, autotrophic, heterotrophic. Autotrophic bacteria will carry on the photosynthesis or chemosynthesis. Photosynthetic bacteria will have the pigments called bacterioviridin and bacteriochlorophyll in them, and thus they are able to synthesize their own food. So, Chlorobium is an example for photosynthetic bacterium. So, in the Chlorobium there will be present the photosynthetic pigment which is called the bacterioviridin. So, Q will refer to Chlorobium. So, first one of the column 1 will be matching with the Q option of the column 2. So, we shall write here 1. Next is methanogens. So, the methanogens are able to produce the methane gas. They are able to produce the methane gas or the gobar gas. They are used in the production of the biogas or the gobar gas. So, the second one is matching with the R of the column 2. The next one is Methanobacterium ruminatum. So, this is the archaebacterium which will be present in the gut of the ruminants, which help in the digestion of the cellulose. So, the third one will be with reference to digestion of the cellulose. And then Sulfolobus. Sulfolobus is a microorganism which helps in the leaching of the elements. So, the fourth one will be matching with that of the P of the column 2. So, here we can write 4. And the options are given here. A, 1Q, 2R, 3S, 4P. And you have to go through all the 4 options correctly. And here I have already written the matching ones here. 4, 1, 2, 3. So, 1 will be with reference to Q. Here 1 Q, 2 R, 2 R, and then 3 S, and the P will be, and then Q will be 1. So, 1 will be Chlorobium will be Q with reference to Q, methanogens with R, Methanobacterium ruminatum, S, Sulfolobus 1, P, 1 are the P option. So, here 1 with reference to Q, 2 matches with R, 3 with S, 4 with P. I followed? So the first option A is the answer for this matching question, and you have to go through all the other options and eliminate the ones which are not matching with one another. Have followed? And in such questions you have to be very careful while choosing the option. The ninth question, food poisoning bacteria are, the options are Clostridium botulinum, Rhizobium, Salmonella typhi, Bacillus anthracis. So the bacteria are of great importance for mankind, but they are also harmful and cause a number of diseases in the human beings. So food poisoning is one of the harmful aspects of the eubacteria, and this food poisoning is called botulism, and it is caused by Clostridium botulinum. The answer for this question is A, Clostridium botulinum, and the other options are not applicable to food poisoning. Rhizobium will help in nitrogen fixation in the leguminous plants, which will be present in their root nodules. Salmonella typhi will cause typhoid in the human beings. Bacillus anthracis will cause anthrax disease in human beings and also in the cattle. So the answer for the next question will be Clostridium botulinum. The next question is bacteria. Here bacteria means eubacteria only. Bacteria having flagella at both the poles. What they will be called has to be selected. Peritrachus, Locotrachus, Monotrachus and Amphitrachus are the options. Peritrachus means the flagella will be present all over the surface of the bacteria like this. They are called peritrachus bacteria. Locotrachus means the bacteria having the flagella only at one pole. And then monotrachus, a tuft of flagella will be present in the case of Locotrachus bacteria. Monotrachus means only one flagella will be present at one pole. Amphitrachus means one or more flagella will be present at both the poles of the bacterial cell. Amphitrachus. Amphi means both. So here the bacteria having flagella at both the poles will be Amphitrachus. The answer for the 10th question will be D. The next question is 11th question. In cyanobacteria, peripheral pigmented region is called what? So the options are chloroplasm, chromoplasm, centroplasm and the chromatoplasm. So in the cyanobacteria, which were called as blue-green algae, the cells will have the central portion where DNA will be present, which will be colorless, and that region is called centroplasm. In the outer peripheral region, there will be present the pigments, and that will be colored. That colored pigmented region will be called as chromoplasm. So the option B, chromoplasm, is the answer for the 11th question. So centroplasm is present in the center, which is colorless. So chromatoplasm will be with reference to chromatophores. Chloroplasm is not a correct answer for this. So cyanobacteria, in cyanobacteria, peripheral pigmented region is chromoplasm. B option is the right answer, correct answer or correct option for this question. Okay, I will continue in the next class. Thank you.